Good morning, class 8. Hope you're all good. Today we are going to start another chapter of history, that is chapter 3, Ruling the Countryside. This chapter is in continuation with the previous chapter of history, that is from trade to territory, that we have already done. And from trade to territory, we have seen how British came in our country and acquired our territory slowly, one after the another. They devised several policies for acquiring our various states and taking many areas under their control. So in this chapter, Ruling the Countryside, we are going to further study that how British established their control in our country, what policies they adopted, how they acquired more and more areas. So the first topic that we are going to do is after they acquired the control over our territories, Robert Clive became the Diwan of Bengal. Robert Clive, the Britisher who gained control firstly over the Bengal area, became Diwan of Bengal. So here we start. On 12 August 1765, the East India Company was appointed as Diwan of Bengal. Diwan was a position. Here you can see that event took place in a very big gathering and it was a big occasion, but actually that event took place in a small tent. Robert Clive commissioned the painter. Why? Because he wanted to record this memorable event in his life. The grant of Diwani clearly was one such event in the British imagination. With the position of Diwani, there were some responsibilities also. As Diwan, the East India Company became the chief financial administrator of the territory. Chief financial administrator, as the name suggests, they have to control all the finances, from where the revenue will come, on what the revenue will be spent. Revenue means money, income. So what were the responsibilities? First, it had to think of administering the land and organizing its revenue resources. What does that mean? That the company, East India Company, has to assure that from where they have to collect the revenue, from which land they have to collect the revenue. Second responsibilities was to ensure that it could buy the products it needed and sell what it wanted. The British came in our country with the motive to trade. So their sole motive was to buy products they needed and sell what it wanted from here. To pacify those who were in the past had ruled this country, to calm or to stop someone. So they had regular threats from those people, those rulers or Nawabs, those who have earlier ruled this area on which the company was ruling. So these were the major responsibilities of the company as the chief financial administrator of the territory. Now, as we know, the company wanted a large revenue income. But initially, the company could not set up a regular system of assessment of collection of revenue. They wanted a regular system through which there was continuous flow of revenue to them. But in the starting, they were not able to do so. Why? Because they wanted revenue from land, but they were not investing in the improvement of land. If we do not invest in the improvement of land, there will be very low agricultural production, and eventually agricultural production collapsed. When agricultural production collapsed, people were not having enough food to eat. Especially in Bengal area, major decline of agricultural production was there, and terrible famine killed 10 million people. Famine is a situation in which people die from hunger. When many people die from hunger, it is a situation of famine. A terrible famine killed 10 million people in Bengal. This led to deep crisis in Bengal. So this became clear that there was a need to improve agriculture. For improving agriculture, the East India Company introduced several systems through which they can increase their revenue. The first system that the company introduced was permanent settlement system in 1793. Now, under this system that the company introduced, the Rajas and Talukdars were also the rulers of the particular areas. The Rajas and Talukdars were recognized as zamindars. Company chose some Rajas and Talukdars and they were made zamindar. Now, zamindars have to appoint peasants who work on the land. Peasants will work on land and will pay the zamindars a rent. Zamindars collect that rent from peasants and finally pay to the company. In this way, the zamindar is a mediator between the company and the peasants who actually work on the land. The rent which was collected by the company from zamindars was remained fixed by the company. It will not change in the future. Whether the production is more or less, the rent remains fixed and will remain permanent. That's why the name of the system is Permanent Settlement System. It was felt that this would ensure a regular flow of income to the company. But there was a problem. There was no investment in improvement of land, neither by company nor by zamindars. When there was no investment in the improvement of anything, how we could expect a good production? And when the production is low, how peasants could pay the rent? And when peasants were not able to pay the rent, then how could zamindars could pay the rent to company? And if the zamindars were not able to pay the rent to the company, they had to give up their land to the East India Company. So here we. When the permanent settlement system failed, a new system was devised. And that system was called Mehelwari system. Holt Mackenzie devised this system in 1822. Now what was under this system, we'll see. Under this system, collectors were British officers, went from village to village and they inspect the land and measure the fields. Collectors, they went from village to village, they inspect the land, that they inspect that whether the land is fertile or not, and they measure the fields, that how much production could be made. And the estimated revenue was added up. They estimated in advance that how much the revenue could be earned, and it was calculated and how much revenue that each village had to pay. That each village, small village, were called Mahal. The charge of collecting the revenue and paying it to the company was given to village headmen. So overall, the territory which they controlled, they divided that territory in the villages and they appointed one village headman who was supposed to collect the revenue of their own village and pay it to the company. Now in this system, the rent which the company was getting was not fixed. Rather, from some areas they were getting higher revenue because the lands were fertile and there were advanced production methods. And from some areas they were getting less because of less rainfall or low fertility. So we have two systems, permanent settlement system and Mehelwari settlement system. We can compare both the system. Just look at this table. Permanent settlement system was also called Zamindari system and Mehelwari system. Now, In permanent settlement system, zamindars collected revenue and paid to the company. In Mehelwari, we saw village headmen collected revenue and paid to the company. In permanent settlement system, the revenue is fixed, and in that Mehelwari system, the revenue was first estimated and then collected, and it depended upon area to area. Third, in permanent settlement system, revenue is same for all regions, and Mehelwari system, revenue can be different from one area to another. Another system which the British followed was the system called the Munro system. It was majorly followed in the southern parts of India. Thomas Munro devised this system, and thus it is called the Munro system. This system was also known as Rayotwari system. Under this system, there was no mediator. Like in Zamindari system, there was zamindars who were the mediator between the peasants, farmers and the company. In Mehelwari system, there was a mediator called village headman who was the mediator between the farmers and the company. But in this system, the settlement had to be made directly with the peasants. That means the peasants directly paid the revenue to company. In this system also, the fields were carefully and separately surveyed before the revenue assessment was made. This system also, like in Mehelwari system, the revenue was first estimated and then collected. They used to conduct the surveys just to see from where they could get the maximum revenue. This system also had problems. The company fixed too high revenue that peasants were unable to pay, and ryots fled the countryside, and villages became deserted in many regions. Ryots fled means they left the country, they left their places. Why? Because they were not able to pay the revenue. They were not having enough incomes to survive. So they left the country. The villages became deserted in many regions. With this, I am ending this video, and I will continue in the next class. When the permanent settlement system failed,